On today's installment of Silver Screen News, a Hideo Kojima game in development, Ridley Scott with a new action movie, Lobo casting rumors, and of course, we have to talk about that Jonathan Majors case.
And of course, guys, we're going to talk about how good or how bad films were a few decades ago, all on Silver Screen News.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again right here to Silver Screen News. My name is Nico Liro, and I'm joined as always by
The one AJ Anthony Jordan.
And this is our weekly movie news show where we discuss all the latest and greatest news, rumors, scandals, hot off the presses, anything really that's movie related. We give you our opinions and some context so you can form your own opinions as well. We've got a lot to discuss this week, and if you want to jump to a specific story, the timestamps are in the description below, so you can jump to any story you like. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But without further ado, AJ, I think we should talk about something I know you're going to be very excited about. If you could swap the screens around, please,
Yeah, I'm ready, bro.
Let's talk about Hideo Kojima, because I'm sorry to break your heart, AJ. Yes, there's a game in development from Hideo Kojima, but it's not Metal Gear Solid, I'm afraid.
It's not. I had a feeling it wasn't.
It's not Metal Gear Solid.
There's no
But
way
it's interesting.
Okay.
A Death Stranding movie from A24, one of the finest movie studios on the planet, has been confirmed by Hideo Kojima himself. This has been a huge year for successful video game adaptations. Not only is The Last of Us widely acclaimed as one of the best TV series of the year, Super Mario Bros. Movie is number 2 at the worldwide box office in 2023. Now the year is closing out on a massive bit of game-to-screen news. Not only is Death Stranding the movie on the way, bringing the wild world imagined by gaming author Hideo Kojima to a brand new medium, but it's coming in collaboration with A24. The news was confirmed by Kojima himself, who shared a statement online about the collaboration. A24 was born into this world about 10 years ago. Their presence is singular within the industry. They are like no other, he wrote. The films they are delivering to the world are high in quality and very innovative. I have been attracted to their creations, and they have been inspired, and they have even inspired my work. Their innovative approach to storytelling aligns with what Kojima Productions has been about for the last 8 years. Now we are making a Death Stranding movie together. There are a lot of game adaptation films out there, but what we are creating is not just a direct translation of the game. The intention is that an audience will not only be fans of the games, but our film will be for anyone who loves cinema. We are creating a Death Stranding universe that has never been seen before, achievable only through the medium of film. It will be born. Now, as with all Kojima's games, see also the Metal Gear series, AJ's favorite, it isn't exactly easy to sum up Death Stranding. Chiefly, it takes place in a post-apocalyptic America with Norman Reedus, he of The Walking Dead fame, Sam Porter Bridges, tasked with couriering packages across desolate landscapes while avoiding attacks from beached things, aka BTs, and dodging rain that causes you to age. He also carries around a baby in a jar, which helps to warn of incoming attacks. It's a particularly wild brew, and one that will be fascinating to see translated to the big screen. AJ, I imagine you probably haven't played Death Stranding, but hearing that synopsis there, and knowing that Kojima is endorsing this himself, your thoughts on a Kojima Death Stranding movie from A24?
You see, my two parts are Kojima and A24. I'm familiar with Kojima. I'm not gonna lie. I recognize, like, I can see the picture, but that's as much as I know about Death Stranding. So I can't really be too invested. And like some of what I'm hearing is like out there, very out there. Like I like the age inducing rain and stuff like that. I like that the phrase called beach things, BT. Like as simple as the baby in a jar kind of threw me off. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm sure within minutes of playing it, you could kind of get involved. And I'm just trying to picture that on the main screen. But overall, look, there's a lot of positives in there. You know, I'm not gonna say people don't miss, but A24 is very, very highly respected in my angles, and so is Kojima. And I don't have to have played the game to not to trust in what they're going to deliver. So for me, I'm anticipating good things.
Hideo Kojima is a guy who, by his own admission, has always had his games influenced by movies. You've only got to look at, the titular character of his big franchise, Metal Gear, Snake Plissken. Like, the guy looks like Kurt Russell from Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Like, Kojima has always been influenced by cinema, and he very much crafts his games cinematically. Some people would even say too much so, because they're so cutscene and story heavy that some people are actually sometimes wanting to actually play the game as opposed to watch the game. Metal Gear Solid 2 looking at you. Death Stranding was a very divisive game, which I've always said is a good thing. You don't want something this middle of the ground. People who loved it, like Rob Pearson from PlayStation Access, really loved it. IGN, for instance, only gave it a kind of middle of the range. I think it was a 7 out of 10 they gave it. So, and IGN are usually glory hounds, right? The Dave Meltzers of the video game world when it comes to rankings. D-riders, as you say. Yeah, is what it is, mate. So, take that 7. It's more like a 5 for someone who doesn't like it. But the craziness behind, I haven't played Death Stranding, but I've watched the Death Stranding movie, the accumulated cutscenes that someone's put together. It's bonkers. And it's made for cinema. I'm surprised he's gone with a studio like A24, not because they lack quality, but because they're very much more kind of lower end of the budget indie. I don't see how they're going to achieve something like Death Stranding with the kind of financial constraints that I believe A24 work under compared to the, for lack of a word, bigger studios. I'm excited for this. Anything you want to add?
As I said, I believe it sounds like a very weird story, but I'm very much open to seeing how they deliver it. I've not even followed the cinematic movie, as it were, gameplay movie. So it's hard for me to really envision it, but I know what you mean about low budget with crazy effects. But let's hope, because Kojima don't play, and if it's a man who uses cinema to influence his games, he's going to know the conversations he's having in order to make his game a movie.
Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you excited for any Hideo Kojima game being adapted into a movie? We sure are. Let us know what you think down below. And our next story, AJ. Let's pivot a bit into let's which story should we go for now? Let's talk about Ridley Scott, shall we? Because Ridley Scott, I think, gets a bit of unfair treatment when it comes to his movies. He's kind of like, he's only really made The Martian in the last 20 years that's good. That's not fair. But despite having mixed reviews, very mixed reviews for Napoleon, Ridley Scott is on board to direct an action thriller called Bomb. Let's hoping it doesn't bomb at the box office. Though the title Bomb, yes, in capitals, is a compelling title for a short story, it does also carry worrisome overtones for a movie title, especially in this era of uncertain box office. Still, that isn't stopping Ridley Scott. Very little can stop him, let's be honest, who is attached to direct an adaptation of Kevin McMullen's tale. The plot, or of the short story at least, runs thus. Frankie Ippolito is a hostage negotiator called into duty the night before his wedding in London. A man who has parked himself on a construction site in Piccadilly Circus is standing on a newly uncovered, unexploded bomb from World War II. He tells local law enforcement he will only speak with Frankie, and this sets off a chain of events in which Frankie is drawn into an overnight struggle to stop the bomber with whom he has a past. McMullen's story was the subject of a frenzied bidding battle between studios and streamers, with Disney's 20th Studios emerging triumphant. The author is aboard to take the first crack at the script. And don't expect this one anytime soon, since it's still in development and Scott already has a fairly full list of potential films. He's currently working on his Gladiator sequel, which kicked off shooting again following the actors' strike. AJ, we're both kind of avid defenders of Sir Ridley Scott here. what do you think of the synopsis of this movie, and are you excited for this new Ridley Scott film?
Again, look, people have been a bit harsh on what Ridley Scott has delivered, but we can also appreciate there have been duds along the way. But
Oh, for sure.
no one has a flawless record. None. You name a director, I could give you a flaw. It's an interesting story. As long as it's delivered right, I don't see why we complain. Again, do you know what I feel with this? I'm not looking for a box office hit out of this. This feels like the middle ground movies I've been quoting recently. This feels like a nice, decent middle ground movie, or double A as Nick calls them, which isn't going to be art house, but it doesn't have to be a big box office. But it's going to be a compelling story, which we hope, kind of like you mentioned in our upcoming, live Rushmore. Word of mouth can still make good money, a la Joyride. I'm looking for something like that in a decent middle ground movie that has a good story that says this sounds intriguing. Yeah, let me see what they can do with it. I'm rooting for this. I want to see it do something to expand cinema's repertoire.
Listen, I'll say this: the last time that Ridley Scott worked with Disney and 20th Century Studios, as they're called now, previously 20th Century Fox, he made The Last Duel with Adam Driver, Matt Damon, and Jodie Comer, which was it literally fits into the bill of what you're describing. A really compelling, character-driven AA movie. Had quite a bit of budget behind it because it's a period piece setting, medieval setting, so you needed to pump some money into it. But certainly wasn't, conceived or delivered as a blockbuster, and I thought was a really nice, surprising, smaller movie. People who are worried now and saying like, oh, but Napoleon wasn't great. It's like Napoleon, despite its runtime, I've said this to you before, felt rushed. And the fact that he's coming out with a longer version of it, I think is a good thing. And people are like, oh my God, it was already nearly over 2.5 hours. It's going to be longer. It's like, well, remember Kingdom of Heaven? The original Kingdom of Heaven theatrical release wasn't great, in my opinion, and that was about a 2-hour plus movie. Then he came up with the director's cut, which was substantially longer and was a markedly better film because it had more room to breathe. So don't hate on Ridley. Between The Martian, The Last Duel, between American Gangster, I'm a fan of Robin Hood, to be honest. Ridley's done bits that still keep him as one of the best working today. Yes, House of Gucci and Alien Covenant were not great. Napoleon, I would say, hold your criticism until you've seen the director's cut of it, because I reckon there's a very good movie in there. It's just hidden behind very fast editing and rushing. So I'm excited for this. It kind of sounds like if Ridley Scott did Phone Booth, set in one night with a guy standing on a bomb. I'm like, yeah, sure. Hell yeah, bring that on. That sounds great to me. Anything you want to add?
Just in terms of the length time, I know it's not really in line with the film, but let's also look at the Schneider Cut. Justice League was not really a short movie, and Schneider Cut was extremely long, but look at the rave reviews. Length, if you let something breathe, some stuff start to make sense. Certain holes are now filled in. You're like, now I can appreciate. So don't let them scare you, people.
No, don't get me wrong. 2023, aside from being a fantastic year in cinema, has also been a year of surprisingly large amount of notoriously long movies that didn't need to be long. But I don't think Napoleon fits into that bracket. It very much was long, but actually could have been longer because it needed to breathe more. Are you guys excited for this new Ridley Scott movie? It sounds fun to me and AJ. Let us know your comments and your thoughts. Sorry, let us know your thoughts down in the comments section below. You wanted to add something?
I was just going to say, will it be the bomb or will it bomb? Let us know. Cheese.
Yes. Very good. You stole my joke. Right. Let's talk about Lobo, AJ.
Oh, that's always a bit of fun.
That's a bit of fun. Let's talk about Lobo. I'm quite excited about this. Now, who's been rumored for the longest time to be the perfect Lobo? Jason Momoa. Well, we have an update on Jason Momoa playing Lobo, and it's looking quite positive, which is a great thing. So here's the full story from MovieWeb. Jason Momoa calls Lobo, quote, the perfect DC role, and further fuels recasting speculation. I mean, just look at this image. Come on. Like, seriously. Aquaman star Jason Momoa has once again declared his love for the DC anti-hero Lobo, calling it the perfect role, Momoa heaped praise on Lobo during a recent conversation with Fandango, during which he promoted what's likely to be his final outing as the DC superhero Aquaman in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, adding fuel to the idea that he will return to the world of DC as Lobo in James Gunn's DCU. So Lobo, I used to collect comics and I don't do so much anymore, but he was always my favorite. And I've always wanted to play Lobo because I'm like, hello, it's pretty perfect. It's the perfect role. I mean, listen, if they call me and ask me to play it, it's an effing yeah. But I mean, that's a guarantee. So you don't have to worry about that. But I haven't received that call. So I don't want to put any fake news out there. But if they ever call me and ask me to play or ask me to audition, I'm there. Rumors and speculation that Momoa will leave the crown of Aquaman behind in favor of intergalactic bounty hunting as Lobo have been circulating for some time. The action star is certainly not shy about his love for the character, with some reports even claiming that Momoa is already locked in and that the casting change will be announced once Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has released. HJ, your thoughts on this literal dream casting of Jason Momoa as Lobo?
Pretty simple, James. If you're not hiring, if it's not Jason Momoa, don't make it. Simple as. I just feel like certain people are born to play the role. Just look at the picture to the side of me there, people.
Yeah.
It sells itself. He's got. I also think Jason Momoa's character, even the way he played Aquaman, lends more to Lobo than it does Arthur Curry. It's just fitting. It's just meant to be. And it's Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool. There are some roles you're just meant to be, right? And it's as simple as that.
Robert Downey is Iron Man.
Yeah, like just let's not waste time. Let's not waste time. Let's like the announce. I get it. We need to let the EU pass before we announce the DCU. I get it. So we'll let it breathe, but just make sure you don't waste any time because it's water is wet. No Aquaman pun intended in that, but
Yeah.
it's obvious. This is a candidate right here. Okay, so let's just make it happen. Well done, Jason.
I think Jason Momoa is an effing liar when he says I haven't received the call yet. You dirty lying liar! You absolutely received the call. Don't even try and pull the wool over my eyes. This is such a deflection article. This one, in my opinion, this is based on nothing other than one little thing. Do you remember when James Gunn, before he did that video where he announced his entire DC slate for the next few years, there was a meeting that took place with him and Jason Momoa behind closed doors. And Jason Momoa uploaded his reaction of leaving that meeting and literally was going like a Ric Flair woo, like a 9-year-old schoolboy overjoyed and just saying, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Shortly afterwards, that video was asked to be taken down. I smell Momoa-shaped BS here. He is absolutely going to be Lobo. I'll even say you can take it to the bank. You can take that bet to the bank. Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo. This is already locked in. This is already confirmed. He is just working us here. Always ABW, always be working. He is absolutely working us here. This is locked in. He just can't announce it yet. And he's trying to make sure that the press don't get too high on the Momoa Lobo bandwagon. But guess what? We ain't press. We pundits. My prerogative is get high as a mother flubber, and here's me getting high. He's gonna be Lobo. Anything you want to add to this?
Nah, let's just get the announcement out. It as I said, just as sure as there is night as day, just as sure as water is wet, Momoa is made to be Lobo. And if you don't do it, you're just gonna have like with the highest respect, some guy who's not meant to be there, and it just won't bang as much. And he'll forever be compared to Lobo to Momoa for it. So just do the right thing, James.
Watch, if they don't do it, DC will follow Marvel's suit and do a like what if animated series, and you could be guaranteed Momoa will be Lobo in.
Oh, they'll probably do another multiverse, and in that multiverse,
No more.
I'm saying it. Flashpoint. It'll be another Flashpoint, and just like we saw John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic for 2 minutes, we'll get 2 minutes of Momoa because you had to do it.
Don't. No more multiverse ever again in comics. Please, no, never. Stop it. Stop it now. But we want to know what you guys have to say. Are you excited about the prospect of Jason Momoa playing Lobo? Yes, right? Do you believe that Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo? And do you believe, like me, that he's already been confirmed behind closed doors? Let us know your thoughts down below. And AJ, now let's talk about something scandalous, because this isn't going to upset people at all. We need to talk about Jonathan Majors. Got to happen.
Purely, guys, because you
It's a
can't
must.
talk. It's that. Yeah, run with it. Yeah, run with it. It's sad to have to report.
Yeah, it's sad to have to even talk about this, but it's an event, it's news, it's movie news, it happened. Okay, so Marvel has officially axed Jonathan Majors after the jury finds him guilty of assault and harassment of ex-girlfriend. Since his arrest in March, Majors has lost various acting roles and endorsement deals, and his drama magazine dream was pulled from release earlier this month. I am not going to play that video because I find it distasteful. That's the assault video, which I refuse to watch on this channel. Marvel Studios has dropped actor Jonathan Majors after he was found guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend. Majors, 34, was convicted of 2 counts but acquitted of a different assault charge and aggravated harassment. A star of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Majors featured in the series Loki and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He was set to lead the next Avengers film, but has seen his career scuppered following the verdict. The spokesperson for the Disney-owned film studio said the actor would no longer appear in future projects. The charges against the actor stemmed from a dispute between him and his British ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari that began in the backseat of a car in New York City. Jabari, a 30-year-old dancer, accused Majors of an attack inside the vehicle that left her in excruciating pain. She said he struck her in the head, twisted her arm behind her back, and squeezed her middle finger until it fractured. Major's lawyer said she was the aggressor, alleging that she flew into a rage after reading a text message on his phone sent by another woman. They said Jabari had spread a fantasy to take down the actor who was only trying to regain his phone and get away safely. Okay. They added Jabari went out dancing with strangers after the alleged abusive encounter, but Jabari said she was seeking comfort from those who came to her aid on a street corner following the assault. Major's lawyer claimed his client's race... Oh, Jesus, here we go. Major's lawyer claimed his client's race played a factor in him being arrested instead of Jabari after the alleged altercation. The actor has maintained his innocence throughout, but now faces up to 1 year in jail after his conviction by a jury in Manhattan on Monday. Majors, who was asked to stand and face the jurors as the verdict was read, showed no immediate reaction in court. A judge will sentence him on 6th of February. Since his arrest in March, Majors has lost various acting roles and endorsement deals, and his drama magazine dream was pulled from release earlier this month. AJ, can I take the reins on this one?
Go.
There's a very weird one positive that I can take from this. I've said for ages, I'm bored of the court of public opinion mattering more than the court of law. And I've always been like, right or wrong, court of law is the highest power in the land, man-made power in the land. You can believe in God or whatever, that's your business, right? But amongst our social powers, court of law reigns supreme, not the court of public opinion. The positive I have from this is well done, Disney. Not for firing him, but for letting it play out. Because let's remember, Kevin Spacey, however much you like him or not, however much you agree with the jury or not, was found innocent. And that guy's not able to work at the moment, which kind of sucks. So I actually like that amongst all of the call-outs, the Me Too's, the shaming, the court trials, the Johnny Depps and Amber Heards, the Kevin Spacey's, the Morgan Freemans, all of the madness that has happened over the course of the last, let's say, 5 years. It seems we're now getting to a place with the studios, as exemplified here, where we're not firing people for something alleged. We're waiting for the trial to have happened and for the jury to have made a conviction or not. So in that sense, I'm happy. I don't love the fact that the race card was played in this. I have to say, I find that really distasteful. It's like, oh, he's a black man. That's why he was arrested. Because you can flip the gender card on this too. It's like, well, it's a man assaulting a woman. Of course he would be arrested because there's a history of this unfortunately happening. How about we just treat each case as an isolated event and not do any of this virtue signaling and just focus on it being a people problem, not a race or a gender problem, a people problem. Found that really distasteful. There are audio recordings that you can find. This is something extra I'm bringing it online. You can go and find them. They're pretty uncomfortable to listen to, which is why I don't want to play them on our channel. But it's him preventing her from seeking medical attention on the basis of and he says twice, I'm a great man, and I have done so much for the black community, and you going to hospital means I'll get convicted, arrested, whatever, and you'll be harming what I've done. And it's like, bro, that's not cool. And again, I'll try and end on a positive here. Who's the one black actor who we have fantasized for ages about joining the MCU?
Denzel.
Can you see Denzel playing Kang? Because I sure can.
I mean, you could.
You really could. You could recast here and there would be no damage done. Or you could completely pivot away from Kang and not even do this storyline. It's possible. It wouldn't make entire sense, but you could. From a cinematic point of view, you could. Or you could just recast him. Bring in Denzel. Watch that. You know how winning heals everything? Getting Denzel to play Kang. That's a win. That's such a win if they do that. I'm fantasy booking here. AJ, your thoughts as obviously the black person in this, hearing some of the words that he said. What are your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, look, it's funny how, I mean, we've all heard what I had to say on the Kevin Spacey front, and I will say like how law can be manipulative. But at the same time, I'm always going to stand there and say that law has to be respected, irrelevant of a personal thought or personal expectation, and certain news. And I'm not going to say I'm totally a fade to it all, but I had believed that we would have got an innocent verdict. I'll be honest on that. But if evidence has come out another way, it is what it is, and it's unfortunate. I go back to when we talked about the guy who played Namor, and Major's name came up then. Thank you. If you're in a position and you have an opportunity, do better. Don't squander. And I'm not here to go for it, but I'm just listening to some of the stuff that you're talking about from an audio point of view, and to be like, I the same way I can say it's deplorable for some of the stuff that you've told me I've misunderstood, but from my understanding of Spacey and his entry into the LGBTQ plus community, it's the same. I'm going to go here. You can't tell me you're doing wrong, and I'm basing this just off of the information that's there, because I know there are people who might be quick to refute everything that's being said. I'm using the information that's been provided to me right now. I've not searched deep in this. As I said, 1 minute I thought he was going to be proven innocent. I'm hearing the information here and what possibly led to him being guilty. Now, if there were audio recordings of a man saying, you can't do this, I'm a great upstanding member of the black community. My brother, you may well be, but you have done wrong. And with wrong, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And essentially, this is what I'm hearing here. If you have, and I'm saying if you have, put it this way: there's no reason for you to be saying what you're saying had you not done it. And I'm just using the information that's here. Please, people, do not think I'm pointing fingers here. I'm just literal facts that are presented to me right now without being able to do any form of research. If you're saying to someone, don't do this because this will affect me and what I have done for the community, then you should have known not to do what you've done to affect the community, and that's that. And again, I'm going to have to watch it from there. And again, where you say, let's not do the virtual signaling, I am going to have to call in virtual signaling, because let's be real, the same way we can talk about how, and again, this isn't being transphobic, people. This is my biggest form of cancellation. I could look like the Uncle Tom, and I'm also going to look like I'm transphobic in what I'm saying here. But in the same way we can discuss that someone who was born of a certain gender and now identifies as another should not be allowed to perform in Olympic sports because of the necessary, the essential differences between genders. Same here. Yeah, the biology, the differences there, and the physical attributes that you have. It's the same here. irrelevant of your color. Color's got nothing to do with it. You are a man who's attacked a woman. Like, I'm not saying there aren't women out there who can outdo men or self-defense can't prevent it. But in the situation of a man attacking a woman and literally hearing what you said, I had to wince because it sounded extremely painful, even as a man to receive. For a man-to-man basis, a man to a woman who, from what I can understand, has no equal biology and fortitude to him, that's deplorable. It is that. From the Disney point of view, I agree with you. You work with the evidence. Don't cut the man before that. And I believe they've been quite supportive. A film was released in that time, very similar to The Flash. A film was released while information was still a bit tentative, and they've put their support out. I can't.
A series was released, right? Loki season 2 came out.
I can't. Well, I haven't seen it, so I didn't know he's in it. But I can't fault a company who's got a running project to get rid of someone. Do I want to see John? Listen, one of the things, and it goes back to, you could talk about your Elvises. Well, I don't know if Elvis. You could talk about your Johnny Cashes. You could talk about your Mel Gibsons and everybody else. Once you have done the time and you have Wesley Snipes, for God's sakes, if you have done wrong and you have been reformed, you're more than welcome to act. But in the here and now, this is the action that Disney had to take. If you can show you're a reformed individual and are willing to do great stuff for the Black community, as per your voice note, then yeah, let it be. But as it stands in the here and now, it hurts to say it because I believed from previous information, I thought he was going to be innocent. But if court of law has determined it there and the information presented, this is as much as we can accept. There is no wrong in it, because had it been someone else, had it been any other Joe Schmo, you are going to be there. If I'm going away for a year, I guarantee, I don't think my job's going to be saying to me, we'll wait for you, Went. No. Silver screen dudes, mate. I can't guarantee my form of employment will. And again, it goes back to it. In life, and it's not your gender, it's not your race, it's nothing here. If you are given opportunities in life, people, my biggest advice to you, do better. Don't squander the opportunities given to you. That's the facts. I'm working based off the facts. You can put all your facts down below, people. I'm willing to read and assess more. I'm working off of the here and now. And that goes for both of us here. So please don't come out with all your guns blazing and all your pitchforks. We are reading reliable press sources and giving our feedback on it. Is it something we want to report? Do we find it distasteful? Yes. But it is big news and something that we cover all the time. And it would be distasteful of us to take Mr. Wetter's case, but cover Jonathan Major's case. So, and we even covered on Kevin Spacey. So why will this not be covered? I'm just laying the grounds on this one because I know it's very middle ground right now. And that's the facts I've got to lay.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't really have anything to add to that. Well said, mate. Look, touchy subject, but let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Yeah. What do you think the future of Marvel is? Do you think they're going to recast? Do you think they're going to course correct and pick a different story? Let us know. What next for the MCU amidst this firing of one of their leads? All right, AJ. With all that done, got some dust in my throat.
We're gonna do
dusty,
it.
AJ. We gotta go down a long, winding road. Take my horse to the old town road. Yeah, gotta go down that boulevard of broken movies. TBT Boulevard, in the section that we simply call Throwback Thursday Movies.
Okay, the hashtags are up. The hashtags are up, guys. I used to say we go back 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years. Then I say we go back in the decades. I'm not even too sure how far back we're going, but all I know is we're going back in the tens. We move in tens out here, and we're gonna relive some great films, or maybe some terrible films. I'm not too sure as yet. That's on Nico to tell you. But yes, it's Throwback Thursday time, and it's our time to review some old school cinema.
Classic movie review time. Yes, we are starting. Let's ease this in. 10 years old is our first classic movie review this week. Just simple 10 years old, 1 decade old. Oh, but it's a big one, AJ. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill, directed by Martin Scorsese, in The Wolf of Wall Street, is 10 years old this week. So sit back, relax as we ask, just how good was The Wolf of Wall Street, AJ?
Look, I know we give our rankings post trailers, but
No rankings yet.
No, I'm not doing it. But I think we all know which way it's going. Is what I'm trying to say. This film, the amount of times if you follow the Silver Screen Dude's journey, you know how many times this film comes up in the top 10 in a Rushmore because of the love that we have for it. How many times it's used as a reference point because of the love we have for it. It's even when we talk about lengthy movies that you're aware it's lengthy, but you're enjoying the ride and you don't want it to end. I had no idea what Wolf of Wall Street was when I first came across it, and I loved every single minute of it. I just feel like this film is it's one for the ages. It's mad to think it's 10 years old. It's weird to think that without even knowing, I just happened to have watched Wolf of Wall Street last week because it was a passing by movie. The lady in the house was like, let's put it, like she put it on, and I was like, hey, I will sit back and watch this with you because it has that. And it's amazing that each time you watch it, I mean, it depends how good your memory is, but I just get another memory. Oh God, I forgot about this part. Oh God, I'm ready for a good ride. That's the journey I have with this film. It's a Scorsese masterpiece, as far as I'm concerned.
It absolutely is a Scorsese masterpiece. This is one of his top 3 movies of all time for me. This is right up there with Casino, Goodfellas. I think this is same level pegging. I think Leonardo DiCaprio probably gives a career best performance here. Likewise for Jonah Hill. It's, you know what, we were talking about movies like Dumb Money, and then I think it was Mixed Memorabilia who brought up who made a comment on our recent live stream when we were talking about the top 10 movies of 2023 and said, oh, Big Short and Dumb Money, best in class, unless anyone else can think of something else. And we were all kind of scratching our heads. We should have said this because that's right up there with it. The Wolf of Wall Street. It really is. Like how they made something as, to your average Joe Schmo like me and AJ, something which at face value seems mundane and boring. Wall Street trading. It's boring because 1, I don't understand it or know nothing about it. 2, their banker. You know, I've never really particularly liked or been attracted to that type of people or wanted to know the stories of those people. I'm like, to my knowledge, you make money and I don't, and you do it in deceitful ways because you know a system, because you've educated yourself on how to manipulate a system, and that makes you a bit of a scum sucker, to be honest. And all of that's true. And the movie kind of pulls the curtain back on this. And it's like, yeah, this is just how depraved and bad it is. And this is apparently taken from the memoirs, the annals, the journal of Jordan Belfort, who Leonardo DiCaprio plays. And dude, the story is just amazing. How they managed to make Trading on Wall Street this engaging is a feat of utter generation-defining movie genius from Martin Scorsese. It's weird to say that maybe his last truly great movie was as much as 10 years ago now. Because I wasn't a fan of The Irishman in Silence. I did like Killers of the Flower Moon, but it's not on this level. It's just not. 10 years ago since the last truly epic Scorsese movie. That's mad, isn't it? Let's have a quick look at the trailer just to see how good it really was. If you could put our screens with 2 of us on
the yeah, I'm good to go.
Yeah, please. Here we go.
I'm excited for this.
Sure.
My name is Jordan Belfort. The year I turned 26, I made $49 million, which really pissed me off because it was 3 shy of $1 million a week. We're making a name for ourselves.
Nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles. You know what a Fugazi is?
Oh, Fugazi, it's fake.
Yeah, Fugazi, Fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a...
Was all this legal? Absolutely not. We were making more money than we knew what to do with.
We don't work for you, man.
Yeah, my money taped to your goose. Technically, you do work for me.
Daddy.
Oh, come on.
FBI. Any kind of booze you might want? No, the Bureau forbids us from drinking. Duh.
Follow me, you could about to go. I'm doing 500, I'm out of control. But there's nowhere to go, and there's no way to slow. If I knew what I knew in the past, I would have been like that on your.
How does this actually work?
There's a big money sign.
They get launched at the time they stick.
This is their gift, okay? They're built to be thrown like a laundry.
Stop. Safety is first. We don't want to get a bad reputation.
And I'm zoning, I think I'm possessed. It's an omen, I keep it 300. Like the Romans, 300. Where the Trojans, baby, we living in the moment. I'm in the minutes for the longest. And you know it, and you know it, and you know it, and you know it.
This film. Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my word. Man, how good was that? Just the trailer. I want to go and watch it now.
Yeah. Guys, look, it's no surprise. It's no surprise what's going to happen here. It's not 1 thumbs up. It's not 2 thumbs up. You need to throw up that damn goat because, all the way, this film is definitely 100% not even debatable greatest of all time. It's tops. Oh, it's tops.
Yeah. Look, when you getting career best performances out of actors who have already given career defining performances is no small feat. Making a movie in 2013 when the PC woke sensibilities were already starting to kick in and making it this rambunctious and raucous and cocaine fueled and sex infested and discriminatory. It's somehow he took everything that's wrong with the world, put it into a big whiskey cask and made like a fine barrel aged single malt millimiller of utter madness. This is that expression I use, cocaine bubblegum. This is the definition of cocaine bubblegum. And just
I think you can see him taking the cocaine bubblegum.
Dude, it's just not one. It's not just two. It is 100% a greatest of all time movie. It's not even debatable. One of Scorsese's best, and Scorsese is arguably the GOAT himself.
I know this could be like quite a perverse line, but I found it quite artistic actually. What I heard the other day, the Margot Robbie scenes that we've come to love and adore. Sorry, I need to pause. But this is quite artistic and quite smart on Margot's part. She said she's not really like a fan of nude scenes. This is a weird thing that she said, but what she's wrong. Listen, but what she realized when it came to this, I think it was her call to be absolutely stark naked in this, because what she saw was
good call, Margot.
The element of her character was someone who didn't have much to offer but her body. So in order to get what she wanted out of Jordan, that's what she had to do. So she insisted on doing the nude scenes because it's like it further defined the character. And I actually thought that
makes sense.
Yeah. And I actually thought, you know what, when I read it, I was like, that is actually really smart. You know, as much as, yes, we've all sat back and done our male gratification, I really like that take on it. And it's not like an excuse for me to be a perv, but I was like, no, I like that. That's a really good play.
Listen, she's God's gift to man at this present moment, Margot Robbie. The fact that we got to see her, full English like that was great for us as men, but like for there to be reasoning behind it that actually makes sense, like well done. Let's also not remember Kristen Milotti, who is Belfort's first girlfriend in this movie, not exactly a bad looker, like good looking woman.
Yeah.
Just naked Margot Robbie. Sorry. Only thing I can think of is better than that is naked Jessica Alba.
Yeah, I mean that and bathtub Margot in Big Short. This woman can do no wrong.
Come on, like
she can do no wrong.
Only she didn't have that damn Australian accent. Nah, it's true though. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Oh,
Right.
boy. And we move on.
Our next classic movie, AJ. We've got a lot of great movies this week, but let's talk about one that I know is near and dear to you, good sir. Very near and dear to you.
How far back are we going?
That's the unfortunate part. Because it's not 10, it's not 20. We got to go back 30 years, AJ. For one that is years. Something that's very near and dear to you. For character that is one of your favorite. In a certain realm, a death tax is in certain realm, it is your favorite character. Because AJ, 30 years old.
Oh.
Yes.
No.
Batman, Mask of the Phantasm is
Okay,
30
I'm a bit more.
years old.
Okay. I'm breathing a bit. For a minute, I thought it was Batman Forever. And I was like, no way. No. I was like, I said it's 96. Okay.
We're not far.
We're not far, but I've still got some breathing space. There's only one way. There's only one way to kick this off. There's only one way to kick this off. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, there's only one way to kick that off. Look, my whole thing when it comes to the Mask of Phantasm and everything else that came through is you say this and 80s born, 90s made. X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman. There was no discussion. It's just what Saturday morning cartoons were.
Yep.
And
Facts.
Batman gradually, through, I know it's cheesy as hell, through the Adam West and everything else, I was more and Michael Keaton, I'm more familiar with Batman as in terms of a backlog. You knew Spider-Man from a really weird 70s cartoon and maybe one of those 70s films where, we've reviewed it when we've done our ranking of Spider-Man.
Oh, the sumo fighting Spidey.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. And then the 90s Spideys came up and X-Men was brand new to me because I hadn't read the comics. Batman had a long legacy. So maybe that's why Batman takes a bit more of a forefront. But it was also one of the most true to comic book cartoons you can get. It's such an awesome experience, even for someone who hadn't read comics. It was amazing. And, again, Kevin Conroy just brought it to life. And coming across Mask of Phantasm, I don't know if it was the same for you. I thought I was just watching a standard Batman episode. But it continued. It just was a very long episode. And again, now that we're saying 30 years in December, it was like, it felt like a Christmas tree. It was like, oh, there's a Christmas special of Batman. And that was it. We just moved on. Like, we watched it, but I was like, oh, it's actually called The Mask of Phantasm. This is like, it's a movie. And it was just the greatest treat ever. I know I've got the DVD. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it was a great eye-opener. I think it would be really exciting for me to see the trailer. I'm going to wait for your take and then really can't wait to see this trailer.
So my take's very different from yours because you've got to remember one thing. I only saw this movie for the first time 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have that cartoon confusion that you did. But my take, in some ways, equally magical because, look, you mentioned the holy trinity of Saturday morning comic book cartoons. I think Batman was probably the best of the three. Not the most action-fueled, but definitely the best made. And it was really quite dark in some parts.
Oh, yeah, extremely.
Like, really dark. The first ever episode on Leather Wings when he goes up against Man-Bat, it's like, I mean, this is kid nightmare stuff, this. Like, really quite scary. And then, there's that episode where Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face and gets his face blown off. Like, it's brutal. Like, child viewer beware type thing. So much so that you can even watch it as an adult and you're like, well, this is fantastic still to this day. This hasn't aged and it's not even nostalgia. This is just great. Mask of the Phantasm took all of the great dark mythology that the animated series created and kept that tone, arguably made it darker because, I mean, there's some legit deaths in this. Like the Phantasm doesn't mess around. And it kind of created a really nice prequel of it was almost like a year one type thing. Is that this is how he becomes Batman? He gets his heart broken, and he was at a place in his life where he was like, well, Do I go through with what my parents wanted, which was me to be happy, get married? No, that didn't work out. Cool. I'm going to go and avenge them now, and I'm going to become this. So it's like, okay. And then we've got our first introduction of the Joker, voiced by Mark Hamill. And it's like, man, so Batman's essentially being framed for killing off various mob bosses. And the Joker's the one actually saying it's not him. Not for any good reason, just because he wants to get it. The Bat! And it's such a great web of intrigue. And you're like, this isn't a cartoon. Like, you could do this as a live action movie and it would stick the landing perfectly. Like, talk about blending the culture of animation and live action. But yeah, it's really great. And as per request, AJ, here is the trailer for you. Let me load it up now. Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Here we go.
30 years, man. Where has life gone?
30 years, bro.
This Christmas, for the first time, America's most exciting and legendary motion picture hero to the screen like you've never seen him before. The Bat! In an all-new, larger-than-life feature film. Now, the Dark Knight confronts...
I love the fact that they've got the Danny Elfman soundtrack in there.
Yeah.
The Phantasm.
I want you.
And faces his greatest danger.
Can't be too careful with all those weirdos around.
The adventure. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. The animated movie. Coming for a Christmas you'll never forget.
Chills, man.
So good, right?
Oh,
So
man.
Damn good, right?
Oh, listen. Okay, I'm gonna give a ranking, and it's not gonna be 1 thumbs up. It's gonna be 2 thumbs up because I do need to see this film again. However, can I say the pairing of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill is officially the greatest of all time. That is official GOAT status.
It is.
But yeah, again, one of the other things that I think we need to acknowledge is long before, like, people talk about DC can't make movies. This is one of the openers for the DC animated universe, and it's something, it set the tone where people like DC they can't do films, but they can do awesome animated films. Like, obviously, we got your Dark Knights and what have you. But this was the beginning, it's part of a legacy. This was the foundations of the DCAU. They just, it's amazing. It's amazing. Just seeing that trailer, the stature, the animation. Oh, it's warming. I think had I seen this film recently, it may have got GOAT. But it's a definite 2 thumbs up for me right now.
You've always loved it more than I have, and I really do love it. I'm going to give it 1 thumb up on the simple basis that the one, without giving anything away, just in case 30 years on, you still haven't seen it. Hey, one of the younger viewers may be watching and being like, oh, Batman film. You never know. I knew who the Phantasm was within the first 10 minutes. And you know what I'm like, when I've guessed who if you see it, it's a Viz thing, if I've got it, I'm like, okay, let's just get there then. So that's the big negative, and that's not because the movie did anything bad. It's just that in some twists in some movies, people join the dots quickly and some don't. When Captain Marvel, you got it, and I was like, oh, no, I didn't get it. It didn't click with me. Anya guessed the ending of The Usual Suspects in the first 10 minutes. And I was like, well, that's really annoying that you've done that. You've kind of deprived yourself of the great reveal. That's your problem that you have to deal with. I guessed Phantasm really quickly. I was like, well, I know who you are. Like, it's pretty obvious to me. And that took a bit away from it. But there's no... The one thing you can't take anything away from, we've got to be careful out here with all the freaks out there, that's it. Mark Hamill's Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman. It's just stuff of legend, dude. So the adult story in it is great. the reveal that's all coming a mile off, the on-screen animation chemistry and voice acting, that's GOAT status, as you said. The movie as a whole, thumb up for me.
Fair play.
All right, AJ. Another classic movie review for you this week. And AJ, we're not going back 10 years. We're not going back 20 years.
Are we sticking at 30?
30 again. Oh, AJ, we've spoken about Leonardo DiCaprio once already. It's time to speak about him and Johnny Depp and Juliette Lewis. Because, AJ, What's Eating Gilbert Grape is 30 years old. How?
This is do you know, it's funny because I hadn't heard of Leo back then, and I hadn't even heard of this film until Silver Screen Dude started, and for my sins, I'm only halfway in the film. Yeah, I'm only halfway in the film. However, what a film from what I've seen. It's very intense acting. It's Leo had no right being that good at that age. Put it that way.
No, none. Not fair.
I still need to see the conclusion, so I can't go further. Again, for anyone who has not seen a Rushmore, the reason I'm only halfway in the film is sometimes we have topics and we try to address it, and I try to squeeze in the film. If it doesn't make it by the Rushmore, I'm now building for the next Rushmore. Hence why there are like half films in my repertoire. But again, what I've seen, I would say half, it's not exactly to the halfway point. I don't just always stop there. It's part of a film. But what I have seen is some stellar performances from everybody in this movie. That's as much as I can say, sadly.
It's very heavy-handed in a good way. Like, it doesn't shy away from some seriously heavy themes. I hate to use the R word, but to bring up what Robert Downey Jr. says as blackface in Tropic Thunder, you never go full retard, right? DiCaprio kind of does that in this movie, but he does it in a way which is completely non-offensive. It really, for a child actor to get that type of performance, it's unheard of. Like, when people are like, who's the greatest child actor ever? I'm like, is there a debate here? Like, really? Like, Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, yeah, great, fine. Dakota Fanning, fantastic young actress, fine. Jacob Tremblay in Room, great, very good. Kirsten Dunst in, Interview with a Vampire, fantastic. Are you kidding me? Did you see what DiCaprio did here? But you know what's really quite sad is you look at young Johnny Depp and you're like, geez Louise, you're good, aren't you? I mean, obviously DiCaprio steals the show because it's the nature of the performance. It's obviously you're naturally going to gravitate to it more. But the dichotomy of what Johnny Depp's having to deal with wanting to leave but having that responsibility towards his family, which clearly needs him and wouldn't cope without him. He's a brilliant actor. And I know people always pull for Jack Sparrow, which is arguably his biggest role. And he's not really getting work anymore after the Amber Heard trial, despite the fact that he was innocent. It's sad, man, because he's such a freaking talent, Johnny Depp. It's unreal. And this movie hits hard because, we've all got a family member who suffers from something. I don't mean on the Leonardo DiCaprio level. I mean on their mother's level, be it alcohol abuse, food abuse, sex abuse, drug abuse, whatever. Like, it's very hard to watch a guy who wants to leave so badly, but who's staying put despite not having anything good to stay put for because of how toxic the family is towards him. It's just a sense of duty, God, duty will kill you. Should we see the trailer?
Yes, let's please do.
Right, let's bring it up now. And here we go.
Pandora. It's a town where nothing much ever happens.
Juliette Lewis.
This is where I live with my family.
There he
Doctor
is.
said we'd be lucky if Arnie lived to be 10.
I could go at any time.
Arnie, don't be rude. Some days you want him to live.
I
kill him, Gilbert.
I know, buddy.
Okay, son, come down now. Bye.
Some days you don't.
When is this going to stop?
Mama.
That's my mom in there.
You see, with Mama, there's no nice way to break it to you.
She's not all that big, Gilbert. I saw a guy at the state fair who was a little bit bigger.
I haven't always been like this.
I haven't always been like this.
Gilbert, I'll need a delivery later.
If nothing ever happens here,
It's those lobsters, isn't it?
why does it always happen to me?
Sometimes I just want to stick her head in the oven and turn on the gas.
I got nowhere to go.
Gilbert, please don't disappear.
See how we're both silent here? It's got its hooks in on you, huh?
Yeah. They say there's a reason for everything.
My son! Give me my son!
Maybe someday I'll figure out what it is.
Handsome cat.
Oh, look, it's praying mantis. You know how they mate? The male will sneak up on the female, and she'll bite off his head, and the rest of his body will keep on mating. And then when they're done, she'll eat him.
Yeah.
It's
I know,
gripping,
right?
gripping trailer. Gripping
I know,
trailer.
right? It's crazy, isn't it?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Look, I without having an ending, I'm not saying I'm likely to be disappointed. It's unfair for me to do anything over a 1 thumbs up. I know it might be an injustice, but without seeing an ending, I can't go further. What I can guarantee you is it's not middle ground and it's not a thumbs down. It is definitely a thumbs up, worthy of potentially more on my end. That's all I can truthfully say.
It's a movie that I think a lot of people forget about because, look, there are so many movies being made nowadays, and it falls into that weird bracket being 30 years old, where I feel like even at 30, people aren't considering it classic territory yet, because when you realize 30 is just early 90s now, it's like, oh no, classic, we got to go back to 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. But I think there's still this stigma with people considering the 90s not classic yet, even though it officially now is.
It's funny because I think for us as well, if you say a film from 30 years ago without stopping to think, you're thinking 70s. You know, I remember.
Yeah, for sure. But 90s is now classic movie territory. There's no two ways about it. And What's Eating Gilbert Grape is very much one of those classic movies that could so easily get lost in the shuffle. It's not one that enough people speak about, and it's definitely worth a watch. Not just for the performances, but for genuinely the heartfelt story that's there to be had. It's not quite GOAT territory for me, but I give it a 2 thumbs up and an absolute must watch. That's how good Gilbert Grape was.
Cool.
And AJ, our last classic movie review this week.
Hit me, bro.
Are you ready?
Just about.
It's not 10 years. It's not 20 years. It's 30.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. It's 30 years old, AJ. Who's the greatest actor of all time, in my opinion?
Day-Lewis.
Yes. And I think it's your favorite Day-Lewis movie, actually. I think. Because 30 years old, AJ, Daniel Day-Lewis and Pete Postlethwaite.
Yeah.
In the name of the Father.
I have to be honest.
And Emma Thompson,
I always leaned towards my left foot. I always thought that was like one of the greatest character pieces you could ever get. However, when I saw In the Name of the Father, there was something at the last that we done like top 10 Day-Lewis. I think this did top it. I think it pushed my left foot to second place, which I didn't think was ever going to be possible. But again, they're both biopics. So I can't even say it's the biopic angle. But I think it's the struggle and the journey, the injustice that's gone on, and the battle to prove it. You know, oh God, Jerry Conlon's character Giuseppe is just—it's so heartbreaking. A man who's just literally come down to defend his son's innocence, and it's like, yeah, I'll take you too. In the Name of the Father, also to me, is very reminiscent of the Netflix miniseries When They See Us.
Mm-hmm.
Is Yeah, it's it's just heartbreaking the way. Again, let's go back to the top of our news story. If you're watching the full news story, not just Throwback Thursday, we follow justice. We rely on justice, and we hope for it to be the best. And you don't, we're talking about it here. We're like, this is Jonathan Majors' case. We accept it for what it is. You hope that justice will not do you wrong. Then you see stories like this, and it just tears your heart apart to be like, no individuals should have to go through such challenges when they're innocent, nowhere near the scene of the crime, but because of these arrogant, racist, and I say that not just on a color basis, just from a location basis as well, you're just going to stereotype and be like, well, it has to be you fit into the mold, and just ruin someone's lives. It's one of the most deplorable and heartbreaking stuff to witness. Oh God, this film hurt me when I saw it, but it's a great film.
Of course, man. Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't mess around with basic emotions, does he? If you're going to watch him doing a performance and they've managed to tear him away from his clobbering of shoes that he does every 4 years between every one of his movies, he usually has to pick a pretty stellar movie for it to happen. And he knew what he was doing picking this role. He was like, cool, so I've essentially got a free rein to exercise the full might of my gift. Screaming, subtlety, anger, rage, heartbreak. He brings everything to this role. He even got a bit of playfulness at the beginning before he gets arrested when he's dating a girl in that house. He's got everything. And oh, dude, like when they're beating him up in the prison, he's like, no, not me da, talk. It's really, as you said, like you have to realize this. That is another human being in there. Like, put yourself in those shoes and just imagine having to live through that. And then spending the majority of your adult life in prison knowing you're innocent. It's like, that's some Shawshank Redemption level stuff right there.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Heartbreaking.
It really, really, really is. I mean, look, now that he's retired, he's obviously not an actor that's spoken about enough anymore. I mean, he's left a legacy behind him that you can't touch. But for the younger viewers out there, if you're not familiar with Daniel Day-Lewis, get to know the guy. Jesus wept. I think instead of me talking, shall we let him talk? Would you like to see the trailer?
Yes, please.
Yes. In the name of the Father.
It was a time of innocence.
In a world.
No law, just love.
What should we call you?
Call me Whale. Come on.
Again, the playfulness of the character, as you say, how it starts off.
Hey, look, he's all chill there.
Yeah.
In the wake of the Guildford pub bombing deaths, the government has responded with emergency legislation and increased police powers of search and arrest.
Get him up! I have a right to speak to my son.
You are in trouble, Colin.
What are you charging me with?
The murders of 5 people.
Get out of here, man!
I taught you how to make the bomb, Jerry.
I didn't do this. What are you trying to do to me?
Oh, what are you doing in here?
Conspiracy to murder.
Their arrest was only the beginning
My name's Giuseppe Connor. I'm an innocent man. So's my son.
of a remarkable journey.
All of the defendants claim that they were subjected to physical and mental abuse while under police custody.
We're never harmed in any way.
How do you find the defendants?
Guilty as charged.
From the hands of a government
This is your home for the rest of your life.
who knew they were innocent,
What are we going to do now?
nothing, to the heart of a lawyer
This conspiracy of silence
She's
has
brilliant,
kept my
huh?
client behind bars for 14 years.
determined to prove it.
They're as guilty as sin.
In the name of justice, in the name of truth, in the name of love, in the name of the Father.
So damn good, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I was very much torn between the 2 thumbs up and the GOAT just by watching the trailer. I've got to go for it. It's GOAT status. It really is. The film, the emotions, the emotion there. Sorry, I just had to make the sound, but the emotion that you get just from the trailer. If you've not seen the film, the trailer might just touch you and you feel the injustice. If you've seen the film and you see that trailer, the emotions that are reignited in you because of what goes into it.
Very true.
That's just the surface. That's just the surface of it. The film is so heartbreaking and touching, but like, I don't want to say addictive. You continue watching it. This is voyeuristic. We talked about being voyeuristic with the whale in our. This is, you're watching another person suffering, but you can't. You need to see how it ends. You're praying for the justice. Oh gosh, it's such a great film. I highly, highly, highly recommend people to see it if they've not seen it.
But what's fascinating is in that short trailer, you've already seen him run the full gamut of emotions that we were just talking about. You had the playfulness, that anger when he's like screaming out at the police officers, the pain and suffering he's expressing when he's being tortured, and the shock of when his father walks in. Like, tell me you didn't look at that trailer and you saw Daniel Day-Lewis, because I didn't. I saw Jerry Conlon.
Yeah.
Like, he's a freaking chameleon, Day-Lewis. Like, even in the trailer, I'm like, okay, cool, I don't see you anymore. I'm literally watching the character. Yeah. It's unreal. Weirdly, though, AJ, I don't hold this movie in high regard as you do.
No, I knew this though. I remember we had that.
I adore it. Absolutely adore it. It's not GOAT for me though. This isn't, because I'm measuring this on a Day-Lewis stick now and a Jim Sheridan stick. This isn't My Left Foot. This isn't There Will Be Blood.
As I said, that used to be my measuring stick, but I think it's the emotion. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot.
It's brutal. It's brutal. But don't get me wrong. This isn't 1 thumbs up. This is a 2 thumbs up movie. Like, how good is My Left Foot? It's absolute must-see, compulsory, must-watch TV. If you like courtroom dramas, this movie's for you.
In the Name of the Father.
In the Name of the Father, sorry. How good is In the Name of the Father? It's must-watch territory. It's all-time great performances from Postlethwaite, Emma Thompson, and Daniel Day-Lewis. It's crazy to think that Day-Lewis actually can do better than this, but he can. That's how freaking good he is. It's great for courtroom dramas. It's great for prison. Great as a prison movie. It's great as a character study. Like, listen, if you're older than 15 years old and you want to see a really brilliant movie that's not just basic and bang, bang, pew, pew, you could do a lot worse than In the Name of the Father.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of Silver Screen News. And guys, that is our last Silver Screen News show of 2023. We will be airing various video snippets throughout the coming days and weeks. Probably not on the weekend, so we can stretch the footage out throughout Christmas week. There will be another top 10 airing next week, the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024, and followed by a ranking special. A ranking video where I'll be counting down every single movie I saw in 2023. I think it's somewhere between 55 to 60 of them, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please do like the video if this has entertained you, and we will see you all in the new year. So however you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, happy holidays and happy new year. We'll see you guys very soon. I'm Nico Liro.
And I'm the one, AJ Anthony Jordan.
See ya.